I'm so honored to be here, and I'm here to talk to you about how to crack your money code so you can become intentionally wealthy. Because the name of my business is Intentionality, and it's all about intention. I want to do a little bit different and include an interactive activity because I did this presentation last weekend in San Diego for a retreat, and I did this activity that everybody just came back later and just said it was so transformational that I wanted to find a way to work it into what I'm doing today. So it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to blow through some of these slides a little bit more quickly so that we have a chance to get to this activity. But I'd like to just start with, asking how many of you have ever felt like you've been in a cycle of feast or famine with your business, where you've struggled to have consistent cash flow? Yeah. Few show of hands there. How many of you want to understand a little bit more how to find consistent cash flow? There we go. More hands there. So I just want to, establish the whole idea that all of us have kind of what I call a wealth blueprint based on early programming that we gained. We all have a money story. We've all come in with a lot of programming. But the good news is we all have neuroplasticity in our brains. And we have the ability to really change our programming regarding money or anything else. And I'm going to share with you some tools on how to do that. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. There we go. So I'm all about intentions. That's why I chose the name Intentionality for my business. And I really invite you to think about yours, not just for this presentation, but for the conference in general. Just like Dr. Tina was sharing, you never know when you might meet that great person who has a great connection or opportunity for you. But my intention is really here to help you unlock massive wealth with more ease and flow, and for this to be transformational for you today. So we all have a money story based on early programming. Based on messages that we got from mom and dad, from grandparents, from society, from school, because when we're from birth to about age 7, we're primarily in a theta state of brainwave, where we take in information kind of like a fire hose. And we don't have discernment at that point in time to kind of decide if this works for me or doesn't work for me, right? So sometimes some of that programming gets in there and it's not healthy. So I invite you to think about what were some of the earliest recollections that you had in regards to money or success. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about my background. I'm a farm girl from Minnesota. So those of you that are familiar with the US, I'm from up north where all the Swedes and Norwegians and Germans live. And I grew up on a farm where everything revolved around hard work. So I'm the oldest of 3 children. By the time I was 10 years old, I was driving tractor, baling hay, and my husband hates to hear this story, but I even had to help my dad with some very unpleasant tasks like cutting balls off pigs. And that's a skill set he doesn't like to know that I possess, right? But my earliest recollections around money were always, you have to work really hard to be worthy of it. Everything revolved around struggle. And the things I heard about money were, we can't afford it. Money's the root of all evil. Oh, we can only afford to go grocery shopping if it's double or triple coupon day, right? And so my messages were kind of this central belief of not enough. There's never enough to go around. And my mom even made a comment to me when I was 7 years old that stuck with me. She said, Carmen, when you grow up, you better marry a really wealthy guy because you like really nice stuff. Oh, and I spent a whole life trying to prove her wrong, which ended up kind of proving her right because I was constantly working 3 jobs and I was overworking and under-earning for a good point of my adult life. So my self-concept and mindset around money was just never enough. So it really led to my why and who I serve. So a little bit about my background. up until 10 years ago, I worked in higher education. So I was a professor in counselor education, and I created a coaching program at Adler Graduate School in Minneapolis. And because I didn't get a raise for 9 years, I always had a couple jobs on the side. And I was constantly working all the time. And then 10 years ago, it was kind of this dark night of the soul. The universe decided to clear some stuff out of my life. Suddenly, my job was cut. And I had a contract that I was doing coaching in the corporate world for PricewaterhouseCoopers and Facebook. And that contract went away. And I'd always been somebody who had my next gig lined up. And here I was without a plan, having to be adaptable, like the lullaby story that you were sharing with us. And suddenly I discovered some new opportunities. I started to bring my spirituality more into what I was doing. And I learned a new technique called ThetaHealing. And I learned a lot about brain science. I was really interested in the brain and how you can make lasting change and really overwrite some of the programming in your subconscious without forcing people to relive trauma. And I became a theta healer and learned a new methodology on how to use a theta brainwave to overcome limiting programming. And I developed something called the Worth Code. So this is my methodology now. And the Worth Code is just an acronym for waking up your why. So really getting in touch with your passion, what it is that your divine purpose is all about, because we're all here for a divine purpose. And the O is for owning your value. So I help people get rid of the head trash, whether it's imposter syndrome, self-sabotage, whatever is getting in your way of success. I help you unpack that. And then it's rewiring you and replacing the old program with a new one. Because it's not just enough to get rid of the head trash. What are you going to replace it with? And then the T is helping people turn their purpose and their passion into profit, which is, coming up with a high-ticket offer based on your zone of brilliance. And then the H is for harnessing divine systems and visibility to help you attract the opportunities that are going to bring the wealth and success that you crave to you. So let's talk a little bit about how to crack your money code. That's what this is all about. And then let's get to the transformation. So we have beliefs. Our beta brain is that conscious part of our brain, where the theta part is the subconscious. And we have the patterns and the habits around money that are part of our belief systems. And we have our self-concept around money. How do we see ourselves in relationship to money? What is our identity in relationship to money? What is our self-worth, which is why I came up with the Worth Code, in relationship to money? Because a lot of people have issues regarding worthiness that prevent them from the wealth and the success they desire. And what do we say to ourselves? Because words have energy about money. What is our self-talk? Are we talking about scarcity and lack? Or are we talking about prosperity and opportunity? And lastly, how do we value our time and our expertise? How do we value what we're putting out there into the world? Are we valuing our worth? So some money truths that I find to be universal, and the first one is money is infinite and it's always circulating. It's not scarce. It's not just because Annika has her money, that means that you can't have yours because she's got it all, right? A lot of people have a scarcity mindset. Money truth number 2 is that it really is a tool to fund your passion, your dreams, your purpose. And money is attracted to a very powerful why. If you have a strong why, you will have more of a likelihood of attracting success and wealth to you. And lastly, I believe it's part of our spiritual mission to create wealth, because we're able to do more good in the world and make an impact when we have the wealth that we desire. because we can fund things that are important to us. We can leave a legacy that's important to us. So I just ask you this. Are you a deliberate creator? Or are you somebody who creates by default? Because either way, you're creating. So I like the T. Harv Eker comment, his quote, "Rich people believe I create my life. Poor people believe life just happens to me," which is kind of a victim or martyr complex, right? And I love the Genevieve Davis comment, which is, complaining is creating. We're always creating, whether we're talking about what we want or what we don't want, because what you focus on grows. So just a little bit about conscious programming and subconscious programming before we get into talking about how we use a theta brainwave to change, and then we're going to do an activity to do just that. So the role of the subconscious mind is really to keep you safe. It's all about survival. It's the repository of thoughts, memories, and feelings, and it fears change. This is the part of your brain. It runs all your automatical, body functions, like telling you when to breathe and your heart when to beat. But it works in the present moment of now. So it doesn't analyze or question. It's there to keep you safe. And we carry 4 levels of belief. So I want to just explain that real briefly. So the core level of belief is from birth to where you are now. So everything that you've absorbed in your life. And we carry those beliefs in our pineal gland. The second level is genetic. And these are inherited beliefs. These are the beliefs that we get from mom and dad, but also from our ancestors. We come in with various prejudices and beliefs that are inherited. And we carry those beliefs in the physical field around our DNA. And then the third level of beliefs are group consciousness beliefs or history level beliefs. And this relates to past lives. This also relates to what we believe as a collective consciousness about what's possible or impossible. And we carry those beliefs in our auric field. The last level of beliefs are our soul level beliefs. And those beliefs are held in our heart, and that's the deepest part of you. That's the part of you that came as both a teacher and a student to everyone you meet. Because you're here to grow and expand. You're here to acquire virtues and learn. And so we're all that to each other. And so you can reprogram your beliefs. And it's not by self-shaming. I always say it's kind of like being a curious anthropologist and being a bit of a gentle observer about your beliefs. And paying attention to what are your dominant beliefs regarding success and money. So some of the things that I ask people, what's the bad thing that you're afraid of happening if you get what you desire? Or the money that you want. Is there some reason in the subconscious that you don't want that to come true? Some people are afraid of paying more taxes, God forbid. Some people are afraid of, gee, if I make more money, everybody's going to be looking for a handout. I might be taken advantage of. Some people are afraid of not being accepted. Like, if I have more money, I might not fit in with the people in my life anymore. So I'm just going to stay small. Some people have never learned how to handle money. So they're afraid of it, that it might become a burden. And it's kind of having a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. Because I always believe there's so much out there that you can learn, even if you were never taught how to handle money and how to grow your money and how to invest it. But, and some people carry ancestral baggage about money. But, this is where the theta healing comes in. So I want to explain a little bit of the context before we get into the activity. So theta healing, I kind of stumbled into it by accident. I met someone who just had this great vibe, and I've been a coach I've been a counseling psychologist and a coach for over 30 years. I just turned 60, so I've been in my field since I was 26 years old. And when my job in higher education went away, I was looking for something new, something to kind of excite me and reignite me. And this lady who was a theta healer was explaining to me how you get to a bottom belief from a surface belief. And you get at the root level through a process called digging, where instead of getting into people's stories, because we're all addicted to our stories, we get a dopamine effect from our stories, by the way, I'll keep asking questions till I get to the bottom belief. And then I'll do energy testing. So how many of you are familiar with energy testing? Know what that is? So energy testing is, you can use a lot of different methodologies, but the whole objective is, it's tapping into your intuition, that your body is not going to lie to you. It's going to tell you what's true for you, what's false for you, what's a yes for you, what's no for you. You can use a pendulum, you can use different methodologies to energy test. But for me, it's a combination of divine and co-creation energy, where I work with the person to get at the bottom belief, and I ask them, you know, if that's a limiting story, what is the benefit? What did you learn from it? How did it serve you? Was there a lesson or a gift there for you? And what do you want to replace it with? How do you want to be seen by others if you change that story? And then at the end, I will energy test to make sure it's gone and cleared. So, how would you like to try this right now? I invite you to get comfortable, because we're going to do a little activity, and we're going to do a group theta healing here. And I've only done this a couple times, but I've really found it to be transformational. So what I'd like you to do is just take in a deep breath, close your eyes, and you're going to just breathe in through your nose, and you're going to just hold it for a couple seconds, and then breathe out. Then I'm going to have you take another deep breath, and just hold for a couple seconds, and breathe out. And I'm going to have you take one more deep breath, hold for a couple seconds, and breathe out. Now I'm going to have you imagine that your feet are growing roots, and they're tethering into Mother Earth. And you are drawing in the infinite wisdom of millions and millions of years of all that wisdom and energy from Mother Earth. And you're going to bring that energy up through the bottom of your feet, up through your body, up through your ankles, up through all your chakra centers. And you're going to really center yourself in your heart chakra and get totally in touch and centered in your heart. Now imagine that energy rising up through the top of your head and forming a beautiful ball of light. And as it does, your eyelids are going to go up and roll upward, and you're going to immediately get into a theta state, as though you're looking up through your crown up through your pineal gland. Now you're going to imagine that your consciousness is in this beautiful ball of light, going up through the universe, through layers and layers and layers of light, through a golden light, through a thick jelly-like substance that is the laws of the universe, and into a tingly, sparkling white light. This is the energy of creation. This is love energy. This is the energy of all that is. And we're going to make a silent command of the Creator here. Creator of all that is, it is commanded that I enter a theta state right now. It is done, it is done, it is done. And now in this space of infinite love, we're going to ask the Creator, show me the main block or barrier that has kept me from the success, the money, the business, or the relationship, or the life that I desire right now. Allow the image, memory, word, or sensation to surface without judgment. And trust what comes. It may be a limiting belief, a childhood memory, a fear, or an old agreement. but just simply observe it without judgment. Acknowledge it with compassion. And now we're going to release that belief. And I'm going to have you say silently, Creator of all that is, I command that this block is now witnessed, understood, and released into the light. Replace it with truth, love, and empowerment. Thank you. It is done, it is done, it is done. And I want you to witness this block dissolve in this pearlescent light and be transmuted completely. And because we're not only able to shift beliefs in this seventh plane energy, we're also able to download thoughts and knowledge and feelings from the Creator. So if you want these downloads, I'm just going to have you say a silent yes before we bring you back into this room. I know what it feels like to live in a world where money is safe and supportive. I know that I'm worthy of receiving money just by being me. And I know how to receive money in abundance without guilt or fear. I am free from all ancestral vows of poverty, suffering, or struggle for survival. I carry the wisdom of my ancestors without their fear or their scarcity patterns. I know how to receive abundance that blesses future generations. I know what it's like to be the version of me who already has it all. I know how to think, act, and feel like a wealthy person in my daily life. I know how to feel emotionally, mentally, and physically and spiritually safe with money. I know how to trust myself with large amounts of money. My DNA supports me in embodying wealth, visibility, and power. I know how to be seen and safe, receiving money and recognition and success. And I know how to feel unconditional love for myself while receiving abundance. So take a deep breath in and allow these new truths to pour into every cell of your body, every strand of your DNA, and every part of your being. You are now free from one of the core beliefs and barriers that have kept you from your highest potential, and you carry new empowered beliefs to move you forward with ease. And you are now aligned with the energy of vibrant health, success, love, and abundance. And in closing, see yourself gently descending back down through the layers of light, through the golden light, back down into your body. And you can wiggle your fingers and toes as you come back. And when you're ready, open your eyes, bringing back the feeling of expansion, truth, and clarity. Why not you? Why not you? It's part of our spiritual mission to become wealthy and to make an impact and to live your divine purpose. So I encourage you to go all in. And I want to toast you to health, wealth, success, and the time to enjoy it, and to have fun while making money. Thank you all. Toasting you.